Road conditions in the Commonwealth right now. Alex Leggett, Communications Manager with the Virginia Department of Transportation, joining us right now. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Larry, how are you?
I'm doing great, can't complain. So, Alex, talk to us about the roads in Northern Virginia. Are you seeing any trouble spots right now? We know it's still early, but typically we know VDOT is always typically on it when the weather starts to take a turn.
Well, I can tell you that my boss literally just texted me while I was sitting on this Zoom waiting to go on, saying she just saw the first plow go by her neighborhood or her house near Route 50, and she said the plow was down and the blade was down and was going. So, yep, we've started our operations across the region. We're in VDOT Northern Virginia District, so we're Fairfax. The primaries in Arlington County, also Loudoun, Prince William counties, and we have just over 1,500 pieces of equipment for this system. We are expecting, some of the road conditions to deteriorate pretty quickly here after sunset. Temperatures now, they're getting a little bit closer to freezing. So this is kind of when we're asking folks to start staying off the roads and getting home if at all possible, just to let our crews start to do their work.
Alex, I'm curious, what did you guys learn from the last storm? I mean, no doubt that last storm that we had was a whopper for many of us throughout town. Has that changed the approach at all as to how you're responding to this storm currently?
Not necessarily, just because the storms are very unique. Each one is different in its own way. For this one, we're trying to figure out exactly where the banding would set up and if it's going to set up and then how much that's going to dump and whether that'll be over Loudoun County or Fairfax County. So, we try to plan for some of the higher end scenarios. And that kind of allows us to, if we've then have a good handle on things, we can demobilize some of our crews and send them home. The last event, of course, it was a really big event, and we're always learning from every system. So we always then kind of grouped together. We had a little bit of an after action internally, and we discussed with some of our area headquarters, hey, what worked best, what didn't, were there any places we can improve? So that's something that we're always striving to do, is just kind of improve on the last system so we can make it a little bit better going forward.
There's always a concern when we have storms like this that those in particular neighborhoods, communities may not see a plow truck in their neighborhood for some time, because usually the focus is always on the major arteries throughout town. Do you anticipate that crews will be able to get out into the neighborhoods pretty quickly and early on?
It just depends on what the storm is doing. It depends on if it's going to last a little bit longer after midnight. And it also depends on how much snow is even put down. Remember, we don't even enter the neighborhoods until there's 2 inches of snow on the road surface. So not necessarily on the grass. We could have this storm maybe 4 inches on the grass, and the roads may have, a couple slushy inches. So just depends on what's going on. But yes, of course, we always treat roads in priority order from interstates and primaries first. I mean, you don't want to get folks out of the neighborhoods and all of a sudden some of the main roads that have the highest demand are completely snow covered. So that's why we do it in that order, to make sure that we get those priority spots done quickly and as efficiently as possible.
All right. I'd imagine that there are some folks that might be still out enjoying themselves with family and friends. Your advice to them, should they be heading home right now to stay off the roads?
That would be best. We got sunset here, heavy snow. The roads were already wet. Now they're potentially getting icy. If you are out there, if you're an essential worker, make sure you're using extra caution on those elevated surfaces, the bridges, ramps, overpasses, because, they will tend to freeze first, particularly with these heavier snowfall rates.
All right. Last question before we let you go, Alex. I'm curious, budget-wise. The last storm that we had was a whopper, and I know you guys had to call in some additional help to respond to that storm. Is there any concern about sort of what the rest of the season looks like and whether or not we could run out of money?
No, there's no really concerns there. I can't give you a number because I really do not know it. But there aren't any concerns that we won't have plows out there. They'll be out there no matter what.
All right, no doubt. VDOT will get the job done, and I look forward to seeing what the digital signs will say, because normally you guys write some really witty stuff, so that always makes me happy there. Alex Leggett, Communications Manager with the Virginia Department of Transportation. Alex, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right.